In this video, we're going to look at an application of a quadratic function. We'll algebraically find both the vertical and horizontal intercepts and interpret these in the context of this model. We're given that the profit P in dollars that a manufacturing company makes for producing N dishwashers is given by the equation P equal to negative 0.01 N squared plus 500 N minus 35,000 for values of N between 0 and 49,930. To start, let's make sure that we're clear on which variable is on our horizontal axis and which one's on our vertical axis. Looking at this, we're going to have P on the vertical axis and N on the horizontal axis. So the first thing we're going to do is find the vertical intercept, which of course will be our P-intercept, and that's going to occur where the value of N is 0. So we're going to find the P-intercept, and that's going to occur where N is 0. And so now we'll replace N with 0 and find the value of P. So we'll have P equal to negative 0.01 times 0 squared plus 500 times 0 minus 35,000. And that will equal negative 35,000. So when N is 0, our value of P is negative 35,000. Given that P is profit, this doesn't quite make sense until we think about what's actually happening. If N dishwashers are produced, then they have a loss of $35,000. So let's summarize that when we interpret this. So if 0 dishwashers are produced, the company has a loss of $35,000, and I'll put the dollar sign to show my units there. Next, let's find the horizontal intercepts. We'll also interpret these in the context of this model. So the horizontal intercepts are going to be our N intercepts, and that's going to be where the output variable is 0, so where P is 0. So solving this, we need to solve negative 0.01 N squared plus 500 N minus 35,000 equal to 0. And looking at this equation, we probably want to just use the quadratic formula without considering any other methods. So from there, we can then determine that N, it'll be the opposite of B, so the opposite of that coefficient on N in that original equation, so negative 500 plus or minus, and now we need the square root of B squared, which will be 500 squared. And still inside the square root, we're going to have minus 4ac, so minus 4 times negative 0.01 times negative 35,000. And that's all divided by 2a, which is 2 times negative 0.01. Simplifying this, we'll have then that N is equal, and in that numerator, we're going to have negative 500 plus or minus, and then we'll have a square root, and inside that square root, we'll take 500 squared, which is 250,000, and then we are subtracting 1,400 when we're subtracting 4 times negative 0.01 times negative 35,000. And that's divided by 2 times negative 0.01, which is negative 0.02. I'll simplify this one step further, and then I'll round. So for N, we have it equal to, and again in our numerator, we're going to start with that negative 500. We have negative 500 plus or minus, and then what's inside that radical, when we subtract, can be simplified to 248,600. And that's divided by negative 0.02. When we enter each of these into a calculator and round them, we'll find that N is approximately 70, or N is approximately 49,930. So as we look at this, we found that N is approximately 70, or N is approximately 49,930 when P equals 0. So if we interpret this, it means that when 70 dishwashers are produced, the profit is 0. And it also means that when 49,930 dishwashers are produced, the profit is 0. So to summarize that, we can say the company has a profit of 0, And I'll use dollars when I write that 0, has a profit of $0 when about 70 dishwashers are produced. And when about 49,930 dishwashers are produced. And if we look at the restrictions that we saw on n, it makes sense then why n was restricted to 49,930 in that first statement.